So please just fly, don't believe they lies, they try to deny that we can fly, just reach for the sky, at least just try. Word of Nina Simone, I'm young, gifted, and black. Hey, kid audio, tell them drums hitting the track. I'm just bearing my heart, it comes simple as that. So don't think I'm just dumb, getting them stacks, I come different.
The history of hip-hop and how it was originated, it's always been a coping mechanism for those who are underprivileged and disenfranchised.
Supposed to win, what can I tell ya? I guess success is just a couple of steps from my failures. What they say don't mean a thing. I could do all through Christ to give me strength like creatine. And I feel like Samson with the stanzas, Hercules with the haikus, Colossal with the couplets. Now you can.
But these kids still had to create. They started making beats with their mouths because their drums got taken away. So it's always been a culture of resistance and compensation. At the same time, hip-hop is a commodified art.
So please just fly.
So arts, I think, holds for us not only economic opportunities in terms of selling it, it holds many opportunities in terms of how it's created, in terms of our understanding.
Second guess, that's when you remember the standard you represent. When you move slow, cruise past the trash. Felt that I got held back, I should have passed the class. Sure, I got a grade A flow, and I gave them a great show when I didn't make dough, but I had to keep it moving, couldn't park.
My name is John Melcher, and I'm the Associate Director of the Michigan State University Center for Community and Economic Development. It all comes down to generally the notion of a place and its people. And how the people relate to one another and relate to their place is oftentimes how we look at community in a development context, thus the expression of community development. The economy that we have today is really about doing things that weren't done before or doing them in different ways. It's a very creative process at the moment, and innovation comes from people who can think differently and connect things that weren't connected before.
As much as people probably overlook it, there's a hip-hop community in every city, whether it's Fowlerville, Livonia, Detroit, or Lansing. Like, everywhere there are people who gravitate to hip-hop.
The Black Pack is a collective of artists in the Lansing area. Yeah, we're a black rap pack. We started as just like a social circle of friends that were artists and just very influential, I guess, in the city and the scene around here. So we thought it would be cool to kind of create this collective of artists that work together, are always with each other, and are like kind of like this cool, very like inclusive group of people that are just like the movers and shakers of the city. That's the Black Pack.
There's three main, I want to say, artists that have been there from the jump. That's myself, Joshua Smith, James Garden, formerly known as Filthy, Yellow Cake, and there's Red Pill.
I need your attention.
When I first started rapping, I was in a group, and I'm not going to name the group because I don't want you to Google it. But my music was definitely more about beating people up and taking their girlfriends. It was very, very braggadocious, very immature, I would say, looking at it now. But I mean, I guess that's like, at that point, that's what was important to me. You know, my worldview wasn't that big. I really wasn't into any type of activism. You know, like my parents told me to like be nice to everyone, things like that, but I just thought it was just music. I didn't really see the power in it.
I'm just a happy-go-lucky, they like, man, he's so lucky. Cause I won't let the savage world gon' budge me. I know every guy in this planet gon' judge me, but it's so sad how we act so ugly.
A lot of times people will think someone who's really encouraging and really optimistic is the most happy person in the world. And what they fail to realize is that as much as I'm trying to encourage you, I need this music as well. I'll write songs to like cope.
But I say, hell, don't even give them a
So it gets the feelings out. And I kind of like just write these words to convince myself otherwise of what my mind is telling me.
And sometimes you gotta dance in the sunshine.
I think that's the real focal point of my music. We're all in the same sinking ship. I'm just trying to grab my bucket with you and get the water out of my boat.
Sometimes you gotta tell yourself stuff like, cause sometimes you will,
It's cool when people are like,
sometimes
oh,
you
you're a really
won't,
good
sometimes you
rapper.
do.
Oh my gosh, you can kind of sing. Or they're like, oh, those beats are so dope. But when someone actually says that you're able to change like their emotion or how they felt or how they view things, that's like, that's when I know that music has a power that's beyond me. That I'm just lending myself to it. And as long as it lets me be lent to it, it uses me, I'm thankful for that time.
Plans, they wanna go and paint you, go and try to taint you. They wanna take you off.
That's why, as you know, as negative we may look at some gangster rap, NWA's F the Police is a call to action to police brutality. And you know, that's what the art form actually really is still to this day. Even the stuff we don't like, it's still a mirror of what's going on in communities.
My name is Austin Jackson. I'm an assistant professor in the residential college in the arts and humanities. I'm from central upstate New York. It's pretty much just simply a small drug hub for the most part. That's the way it was then, and that's the way that it is today. During that time period, we were losing like 1 out of every 3 or 1 out of every 4 black males, you know, to incarceration, to drug dealing. We were being murdered, being victims of police brutality. In other words, when I came of age, when hip-hop was really taking off in the mid to late 80s, our society was in crisis for the most part. And while I was lucky in the sense that I had a mother, you know, who tried to make sure that I was aware of my history and culture, she was a former Black Panther, she became a victim of the crack cocaine epidemic. Me and my generation, that era's hip-hop generation, became abandoned. We're the first generation to grow up without any sort of generational guidance, the wisdom of our ancestors being passed along, and so forth and so on. Hip-hop became that for us, became a sort of surrogate parent.